All right, it's 7:15 and good evening everybody. Welcome to yet another live training session at Leap 3.0. I'm super duper excited and I hope you are too. But until the session begins, we have a certain not a few formalities to take place. Before that, there are 31 of us who have logged in. We expect at least 70. So the number has doubled definitely in the last 5 minutes, and I hope it will double in the next 5 minutes. But this is cue for you to reach out to your teams and remind them to join as ASAP. A couple of days ago, a few days ago, not couple, we celebrated Children's Day. And I thought today's Energizer, let's go back to school. And what is one thing we all did at nursery school? We sang nursery rhymes, right? So we're going to sing nursery rhymes today. I will start with the first few words of the first line, and then all of you should be on unmute, sing along. Now, if there are people around you, it's okay. Let them consider you crazy for the next 5 minutes, okay? But all of you have to sing. I need to hear your voice, your energy. This room needs to feel that. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right. And since you're on, all of you, those who are on video, if there are actions for that particular nursery rhyme, go ahead and show us those actions also. Okay. So we're going to do five nursery rhymes and we'll just do the first four lines or the first stanza of that nursery rhyme. You don't have to sing the whole thing. We're not testing your knowledge. We just want your energy. So the first one is Baba Black Sheep.
Happy
New Year,
Black
full.
sheep,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
three bags
bags
full.
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 One for
One
One
my
for my
master,
master,
one
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 and
for
for
one
my
my
dame,
dame,
one for
one
the
for
little
the
boy
little boy who lives down the
down the
lane.
lane.
One for
fantastic,
Daryl.
fantastic. Yes, okay, that one is for me. The next one is for you. Twinkle, twinkle,
Twinkle,
little
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 star.
star,
star,
How
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 I
I
wonder,
wonder,
wonder.
wonder.
Up
Up
above
above
the
the
world
world
so
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 high,
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 like
like
a
like
a
diamond
diamond
in
diamond
the
in
in
the
the
sky.
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 We have fantastic students here.
This
The next
this
one.
diamond is Jyotika for us.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Humpty
Had
Dumpty
a
had a
Had a
great
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 fall.
fall
fall.
for the king's
All the
men.
kingsmen and all
Okay,
the
I don't
kings
know
of
this
this
one.
land
Couldn't put
couldn't put
Humpty
Humpty
together
together.
again.
I'll have to
Great,
take out
great.
my
I
science
I
book out.
I love the energy. We have two more to go. Mary had a little
Little
lamb.
lamb,
Little
little lamb,
lamb,
little
little
lamb.
lamb,
Mary had a little
had
lamb.
a
The
little
lamb please was white as snow. Where
After that, I
Mary
don't
went,
know.
Mary went, wherever Mary
Mary
went,
went, the lamb was sure
sure
to
to
go.
go. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I'm enjoying this. So the last one, and everybody joins in for this. The wheels on the bus
Bus
go
go
round.
Round and
round,
round, round
round
and
and
round,
round,
all
all
the
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 way.
way
way.
long.
Round and round, all the
The
through.
wiper on the bus
Fantastic.
goes
Let's
swish,
give
swish,
each
swish.
of y'all a huge round of applause for
The
being so
bus.
sporting. I enjoyed listening to all of you if the people around you found it awkward. All right. On that note, a few ground rules before we kickstart today's session. I hope you have joined from a good place of internet connectivity. Your workbooks, your case studies are open, and you're ready to dig, uh, dive deep into the session today. Please remain on mute unless you have an opportunity to come forward and speak. But we encourage each one of you to come on video so that this session is as engaging as possible for all of us here. Please do rename yourself with your Leap ID and your name, of course, so that it's easy to move you into breakout rooms for the breakout room activity scheduled today. On that note, it's now time for me to hand over proceedings to the person responsible for this program. She has been a Toastmaster for more than a decade. She started her journey in Toastmasters in Dubai, but I think District 121 is more than happy to have her here as a Toastmaster. She has, of course, served in various capacities as a leader, She's a communication coach, an author, and of course, our Leap 3.0 chair. Please put your hands together and welcome distinguished Toastmaster Jyotika Shetty.
Thank you very much, Daryl, and a warm good evening, dear leaders. One thing for sure, it doesn't take a lot of hard work to become children again. We all became kids in a matter of 5 minutes, and I think this small kid in us should remain alive forever and ever. So a warm good evening once again, my dear leaders, mentors, all of us are leaders. And a special good evening to our facilitator this evening, Sandhya Pillai, who is joining us from Pune and is here to talk about a very special topic, influence without authority. Now, as Toastmasters, I think it's not very difficult for us to understand this topic because we do this in and out, influencing others without a clear position. Although we hold titles, we still follow servant leadership. And I think this organization has been around for 100 years, and we pretty much understand this. But if I have to ask all of you the meaning of what it is to influence without authority, perhaps each one of you will have different understanding or meaning of this topic. And that's where Sandhya's presence today becomes very important, because she's here to deep dive into this topic and give us an understanding and a deeper perspective into this topic. But before I hand over the screen to her, I want to tell you a small story. A story that I came across this morning, and I felt it was something that resonated with my version of influencing without authority. So it was the first day of school, and all the kids were there. Number 9, being the biggest number, went to number 8 and gave a tight slap. Number 8 said, "Why did you slap me? What did I do?" Number 9 said, "I'm the bigger number, and that's the way it's going to be." Listening to this, all the numbers became highly energized and very emotional, and there was so much of commotion in the classroom. 8 went and slapped 7, 7 went and slapped 6, 6 to 5, 5 to 4, 3, 2. And then when it was number 2's time to slap number 1, number 0 got more scared and he said, "Who do I slap? I better go hiding because I'm going to get beaten up." So number 0 slowly went to the corner and sat. Looking at this, number went to number 0 and said, "Why did you go into the corner? Why did you go to the corner? I'm not going to beat you. I'm not here to beat you." And then number 1 went and sat to the left of number 0, making it number 10. So number 0 looked at number 1 and said, "Why did you do that? Why did you make me a bigger number?" So number 1 said to number 0 that being bigger is not about the number. Being bigger is not about who you are, what muscles you have, what designation you have. Being the bigger number or the bigger person is about how you make others feel in your presence. And that's the story that resonated to me because I feel that's my version of the bigger person. So my dear friends and leapers, the next time you are in a bigger position, just ask yourself, how do you want to make the other person feel in your presence? And also, when you're in a position of getting influenced by others, again, ask yourself, how does this person make me feel? With that being said, it's a small story that I thought would resonate with all of you because I just loved it. It's now time to move to our facilitator. But before that, a heads up, I have already distributed the guidelines for the individual project. I hope all of you got some time to watch and read out the guidelines. Try to find time to sit with your mentor as soon as possible to discuss the individual projects because there's a timeline clearly mentioned in the guidelines and this timeline won't be moved at any cost, and therefore please start your project in time and end on time. And also it's very important to complete your individual project to be eligible to participate in the final capstone project. And therefore this is a precursor and it's important for you to complete the individual project on time. With that, now please allow me to introduce our facilitator this evening, who is Sandhya S. Pillai, like I already mentioned. a globally respected CXO communication coach from India, currently based in Pune, and the founder of SandhyaACoaching. With 25 years of industry experience and over 14 years dedicated to coaching, she has empowered more than 25,000 professionals, including C-suite and senior leaders across global organizations. Sandhya specializes in high-stakes communication, leadership influence, and behavioral transformation, guided by her signature 3A model: authority, audience attention, and authenticity. Her mission-driven approach helps leaders speak with clarity, presence, and purpose, enabling them to command trust and influence in the boardroom while staying deeply aligned with their values. Today, she's here to help us gain a deeper understanding of how one can influence without authority. My dear leapers and mentors, please join me in welcoming with a huge round of applause our facilitator this evening, Sandhya S. Pillai. Over to you, Sandhya.
Thank you, Jyotika. Thanks, Daryl, for that amazing start. I think it kind of energized me at least to, for a 7 a.m., so rather 7 p.m. session, you need that energy. But it's amazing, Jyotika, the story that you began with. So do I really need that 2 hours? Because I think you've already set the context and the training is half done. Do you think that makes sense for me to even continue? So very, very good evening. It's amazing to see the energy. I loved how some of you were just swinging and using all the hand movements for the rhymes. So I really felt energized to take the next 2 hours. Though it may seem technical, but we are going to have it in a more conversational manner, because it's not me going to give all the knowledge here, because all of you here are accomplished in your own space. Wherever you are, I can very well vouch for that. But what we are going to explore, I'm sure the team has shared a case study. We are going to weave the story with the case study, so that something that Jyotika already set the context for, we are able to actually connect everything that we are going to look at, right? But before I jump into the concepts and everything, I just want to hear from each one of you. I know because there are around 54 people. So if I exclude Jyotika, me, and Daryl, Jyotika, you'll also have to let me know how many people you want me to add in the breakout room. Are the mentors
Sure.
also supposed to know? Just
Daryl will help you out with allocating them. Just let us know how you want it to be done.
Perfect. So I just was curious to know if the mentors also get added to the groups accordingly.
Yes.
Then I'll start the introduction.
They will be there with each of the groups. Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. So you're coming back. I don't think 54 people coming on the audio and introducing each other, or each one of us doing the introduction would be a possibility. So what we're going to do is maybe use the chat. A couple of you could unmute and talk, but not the introduction. So here is what we're going to do. Tell me in one word or one sentence only, whatever your age is. You don't have to tell me your age, but tell me your experience in one line, in a format which is not professional and it is very casual. So I'm keeping it very open for you. You don't have to talk about the finance domain or industry domain, anything. You can maybe talk about who you are. Right? I leave it up to you to decide creatively who you want to say. And I'll also share my introduction. And I'll also talk about my introduction at the end again. But I really want each one of you to try not to use a professional title, authority, anything like that, but still share your years of experience. It could be your life experience, or it could be a professional. That's up to you. So for me, my years is actually 49 years, so almost 4 decades or more that I've lived on this earth, but 25 years of industry experience. But for you, I leave it up to you. Wise human, Lata. Oh, that was really quick, huh? That was really quick. It still doesn't tell me maybe the number of years. So maybe a number could be a great idea, but I'm okay. I'm okay with you not using numbers. Somebody else. Let's see the creative part. So do not use your power title, anything like that. 38 years of experience as human being. Karthik, brilliant years. Not young, not old, hanging in between. Bindushri, that's wonderful. I love that. Lowest twin numbers. I actually got curious with that one, Bhavna. Let me send you a personal DM and ask what that means. For me, 40 was not only naughty, but it was a transformational year. I think I took a leap of faith with many of my professional decisions, but good to see that, Rosmi. Young leadership with 2 decades. Strong lady with more powers to go. Being naughty at 40, entering the teen in my corporate world. Bingo, Shruti, mentor, Pandirajan, living the moments 40 years. I seem to be the oldest one here. I suddenly feel old. I shouldn't have asked that, right? A decade of learning, leader starting off now, Supriya. Good to see that. Good to see that. Let's have more. Let's have more. Lead young professions at 45 plus. So Sarvana Kumar, you are closest to my age. Or Jyotika, I think you're also close to my age.
I'm 1 year elder to you. I'm 50.
Oh, that makes me so relieved now suddenly. Born in the 70s and still young. Absolutely. Why not? Curious kid at 40. Mansa, Taurian. I would have written the same, right? Scorpion. 76 born, Nitin. High five. Learning every day at 33. Kalyani, level 32 in the game of life. 18 with 27 years of experience. Brilliant. I love how none of you have used the position, title, or nothing that tells me anything about what your professional life is. I guess we still have more, right, Daryl? Did we cover everyone? No, not yet. Shilpa, Prashant, leader with 24 years experience and still learning. I'm also curious, Prashant, other than a leader, who else you are as an individual, as a personality, trying to discover a better version of myself for the last 2.5 decades. Oh my God, Sunil, it's a long journey. It's almost 50 for me, and I don't think I still have deciphered that. 42 and 20, Srinidhi, nice. Madhavi, open to learn with 2 decades of experience, brilliant. Ram Prasad, passionate professional, turning to passionate leader in 30s. And I'm curious, other than being a professional and leader, who else you are? Have we covered everyone? Sajid, did I get yours? Kavya, not yours as well. Ashima is, I think, writing. I can see her typing. Sharanya, lifelong learner with 32 years experience. Interesting. Kalyani, are you done? Did I read yours? Featured in 40 under 40. Wow, Srinath, that's brilliant. A visualizer, an observer, creative soul, and a journey to know thy myself in midlife. Wow, Ashima, I love that. I am curious to know more about you now. That's actually influencing without authority, right? 40 is a new 20. Why not? A little bit over a quarter life crisis, Sarah. Oh, the crisis never ends. Father to a 21-year-old was 32 when I held it in my hands. Still remember that day. How sweet is that, Barinder? Thank you. 48, 10-year experience. Nice. Wow. Passionate mom, human Toastmasters since 1.5 years. Ooh. Abhilasha, that's a beautiful one, soulful one, actually. Are we done? Did I miss on anyone? Like to explore, enjoy every moment. 39 years of walking experience and still trying to fly. That's beautiful, Akila Industry. Minakshi, age where coffee is essential and decisions are questionable. I tell you that, coffee is mandatory. I think it should be mandatory. Good to read that. Let me know if I missed anyone. Please let me know if I did miss anyone. I'm willing to wait another 30 seconds, but not willing to start without the introductions being complete. Person with unfulfilled dreams yet. Devsha, that's a cute one. Trying to be 50 under 50, Kiran. Nice. One heart for each one of you, Karthik. That's nice. Poet, quizmaster, salesman who survives in words. Wow. Did we miss out on anyone? You have to tell me, Jyotika and Daryl, because I wouldn't remember all the names, but I think I saw a huge amount of chats here and I read almost every bit of it, and I'm sure I haven't missed a single one.
I think everyone has responded.
Everyone has. Okay, so let me ask you, Karthik, this. What did you feel of this exercise? How did that feel to know beyond your profession title who you are? Did that seem different for you?
So for me, like reading every line itself is like I wanted to give a heart to everybody, so I couldn't do that. So that's the reason I just put it there.
I know, right? My God, 50 stories, or rather, I guess if I were to write a book, there is 62 stories that I need to write. I'd love to hear from Jyotika and Daryl as well. While I kind of intrigued me to also get your introduction other than the way I've known you guys?
Okay, I'm gonna put it on chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the intention. Kavya, what do you feel of the exercise? What did you feel while you were typing it?
It feels amazing to think beyond our titles and job roles or how people
Yeah.
identify us, right? What we are, who really we are as a person. That's very
Yeah.
important. And this exercise helps us say, think deeply about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Madhavi, how was your experience of writing? And after that, I think we could take Karunakar.
Yes, Sandhya, same. I was started thinking, always open to listen. What else I
Uh-huh.
was other than the IT experience? So
Yeah, I know it's so
that's I
difficult,
thought.
right? We are so used to being either called an entrepreneur, a vice president, chairman, or manager and team leader. Most of the times when I ask people about their experiences, they forget that beyond the professional experience, there is a lived experience all of us have. For me, it's 49 years. For most of you, maybe 30, 20, but we often forget that that lived experience has been because there has been a lot of people around us, and without a title, without a power and position, we have, even as a child, been able to convince a lot of other children on the streets, right? If we wanted one chocolate, or we wanted, even for me, I think getting one eraser, the scented eraser from my father, was an influence without authority, right? No authority, but I've tried all storytelling to get him to buy me a scented eraser, right? And we've learned that since our childhood. Correct. And that's why I always want to bring in lived experience persons for all of us, because those are not there in the marketing books. Those are not conversations. People would know, right? Each one of us had those conversations where we were not in an authority, but we still kind of influenced and persuaded people. So the last one I'm going to read is Daryl, stepping on 29, figuring out life's lesson as I go on. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Great start. So, I'm going to share something on my screen, and you don't have to absorb it for now, but just see the structure of how I've introduced. And I want you to hold that introduction, and we will look at it again. But I just want all of you to see it here. Just give me a minute. Let me share my screen. Okay, so putting it on slide share, and I think the first person I see on my screen is Ashima. Ashima, can you see my screen? Just let me know. Unmute and let me know, because I won't.
Yes.
You can, right? Perfect. So this is the introduction that I have, which is a very professional introduction, not what we all of us have it on the chat. I'm going to read the chat in a bit, but I just want all of you to hold on to this introduction. Remember the colors that I've used. And do you see something in the introduction that I have here? Do you see some pattern? Do you see something connecting? Is there any dots that you're able to connect here?
The one,
Anyone?
the one which is in yellow, it is almost you fulfilled along with. That's what I feel. The
Okay.
yellow color, because in your circle of life that you are
Yeah.
completing it. The
Okay.
other one is in incomplete. The others are half the way. Something, that's what I interpret.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Sharanya, you raise your hands. Is there a pattern? Anything that you noticed?
Who, what, how?
And what is the who? Where is the how? And what do you think? Where is each part of the framework that you said?
The left one is who.
Hmm.
Overall, it's a concise introduction of yourself. So the
Yeah.
first one is who, you talk about
Uh-huh.
yourself.
Uh-huh.
Second one is what, that's your
Hmm.
mission. What are your
Mhm.
values and your mission?
Hmm.
And the third is what you have done so far and how have you achieved your mission. So I would say the last one is how.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Ashima, you've also raised your hands, and I saw one more hand. I can't remember who that was, but I saw one more hand. Ashima, go ahead.
Yes. I felt like, what's your purpose in life, or
Mhm.
what you want to live with?
Yeah.
So every statement, all the three colors have your purpose.
Okay. Purpose. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good way to look at it. There's no right or wrong answer, by the way. Anyone else? I saw one more hand. Can you just raise your hands again so that I can see you?
It's me.
Bharadwaj. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Actually, the first one, the red color one, which is half filled, is for the professional introduction, like a quick introduction when we meet someone. You just instead of giving your visiting card, you can tell that is the elevator pitch. It is a kind of an elevator pitch. Second one, second one is for people who are not professional but who want to know about you. So that is the introduction which can be given to a people who are
Yeah.
not professional, but you want to just introduce yourself. And third one is for the folks like us, whom you want to make them understand what you have achieved so far.
Okay. What I have achieved so far. I loved it how you saw the colors, all of you, right? Whoever actually spoke, you could see the colors. You also saw the half colored wheels. Lata, you've also raised your hands. I just saw your hands. Please go ahead.
Yeah, what I felt it is who you are, and it's
Uh-huh.
and what is the impact you have created, and how many people you have influenced is how I'm relating to this today's.
That's actually interesting. Okay, so I know I've got the perspective of each one of you, and like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. However, this is one of the concepts that I'm going to introduce, and once I introduce that framework, I'd love from all of you to tell me that, Sandhya, I think this was the framework that you used to introduce yourself. Now, elevator pitch is important, and we can actually use an elevator pitch as in when we want to influence, but we don't always need an elevator pitch, and this is just a representation of you can still introduce yourself with your why, or sometimes the logic, which could be the numbers. So some people, I said that, I'd love to hear numbers from you, but not necessary, right? So sometimes numbers really play a good part. In fact, it's instrumental in influencing a lot of times. And sometimes just your basic introduction that we did here is good enough, right? Mother of a teenager, writer and solo writer, traveler. Sunil would say, I think I just want to know this person beyond her LinkedIn profile, and that will make me connect with her. Fair enough, right? So the who you are sometimes is your introduction good enough, and you don't need more to influence someone. Sometimes your mission itself is so strong that you connect with people without even establishing any authority. And sometimes, for most people who are logic driven, the numbers work magic, right? So you need to throw in some numbers for them to actually believe you or trust you. So I just wanted to show this, but I will talk about the framework. Now, before I jump into influence, I just wanted to read a few chats here. So Daryl is done. Can't wait to read our lead share intro. Yeah, I'm waiting, Jyotika. In fact, I paused because I was waiting for you to type in Karnakar present, future, past summary. Oh, nice. Okay. Now, what do you think influence is? You can unmute and tell me, or you can put it on the chat. What, according to you so far, based on your lived experiences, what do you think is influence as a word? Or what is your understanding? No definitions, just the way you think conversationally, you can let me.
Yeah, without saying any words, somebody is making you to do something.
Without saying any words. Any example of that, Ram Prasad? Like, how would you, without verbalizing it, influence someone? Like, any example that comes to your mind?
Yeah, someone voluntarily doing something and helping without expecting from others. So if you see them and okay, they're doing something, even it is not helping, you feel okay. So you also wanted to do something. Kind of influence.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I personally never thought of that as an influence, Ram Prasad, but that's an insight for me. Thank you. Jyotika, thank you so much. Someone who realized it takes 50 years to start understanding life and more to persuade others to take action, Akhil. Okay. What else is influence? What else is influence?
To create an impact in certain way on somebody else, like how Instagram influencers work.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Good example. Anyone else? Anything else that you think?
I had influence means I have thought negatively so far. The reason behind is that people feel that he is influencing. So that means it is getting into the whatever the thoughts we have, he is trying to press on that, and then he is making sure that that work is being done for on behalf of him. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
most of the reasons that I thought it is in a negative fashion.
And you're not mistaken, Sarvana, because
Hmm.
most of the times when people use influencing in sales negotiation, because sales is considered as not really very clear businesses in terms of numbers, right? Sometimes we kind of extrapolate the data. People did think influencing is a negative way, right? But influencing without authority, when it started being talked about, of course, it always existed. A lot of leaders, like Ram Prasad said, they're silently doing their work. And sometimes we just by watching or listening or, reading their stories, we've got influenced by them, right? And we will all have our own heroes from our lives where we have read. But yes, you're right. So the way we influence, if it sometimes comes from a space of power, I'm not talking title or position, but just the space where I make the other person feel that, hey, you know what? Something that Jyotika said, number 9 is more powerful and has the right to slap number 8. If that comes from that space, right, then it does feel like influencing is negative. And sales, most of the times, initially used to feel like that. But of course, there's a huge change in the way we looked at sales conversions today. It's not like that. It's a very consultative approach today. So yes, you're right in thinking that. And that is why we will see some frameworks where the human connection is important, because if we set that right, the other person doesn't feel that there is power over, right? It is subtle influencing, like the way I did for my father. Of course, that was manipulation. It was not influencing. I think I manipulated him to buy me whatever I wanted to, because also being the fact that I was the youngest in the family, so the most spoiled and the pampered one. But yes, that manipulation is something that most people thought influencing is. I agree there. Yeah. Shilpa, ability to create a change in someone without using power or authority. Yes, but sometimes we do use the title and position also to do sign-offs or approvals, and that's influence. But influence without authority is what you've written. Now, my question is slightly different for all of you, and before we jump into the case study. So first of all, how many of you read the case study? Show me a thumbs up if you haven't. Let me know that as well when we take over others' thinking. Bindushri, yes. In a way, when we take over others' thinking, I would say rather, so most of you have read. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. I'll come back to you on that one, Bindushri. So great. So we have read the case study. Okay. So what do you think? So why do you think influencing without authority is important? The kind of roles that we are in right now, why do you think influencing without authority is important?
Like
Anyone? Yeah.
we are a leader, so we have to act on it, and then only when we are doing it, people will follow. So basically, that's how we influence people. That's
Fair
how
enough.
they get influenced. Yes.
Fair enough. So for you, Karthik, you're saying walk the talk is what you would use as one of the strategies, right?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Inspire
In my
effort.
experience, sorry, somebody else saying?
Yeah, for me, influencing with authority is always a short term. So when you, without authority, it will have a long term influence or the impact, I would say.
Very interesting thought process. Nice. Ashima? Build trust to be lovable, likability.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Maybe when we do it.
For me,
Vidushi, just hold on. Ashima, please continue.
yes. For me, it is I want to reach and get connected with everyone in the hierarchy. So lowest to upmost, and probably the kind of work I do. So I would even like to connect people at even at a worker level. So that's the reason I need influence rather authority, so that I can get connected with people across, be it clients, be it workers, be it at any level and every level. So yes.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Lata, thank you, Ashima.
Now, when we talk about we need to lead without authority but with influence, in Toastmasters and outside world, we do not want to be the lone leader. We want to we want to create more leaders. And if I want to create a leader, I want that leader to be better than me. in every aspect. So that
Yeah.
only comes when people believe you, trust in you, and see you as a role model. And that happens only when you are in a position to influence someone rather than by authority telling them do this. Can you do this and do this makes a lot of difference. So I feel influence is more better when you want to create better leaders, better communicators, and better human beings. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Makes sense. Thank you, Lata. Bhavna?
Yeah, when we influence without authority, it is our vision is imbibed by the leaders. It is carried forward to the next generation, and our vision is getting proven. So that's how it's without authority.
So you're basically saying you create a legacy because it goes beyond generations and it's kind of
Yeah, like
extended
even
there.
if we are not in the room, the mission is carried over and the goal is accomplished when we influence without the authority. Otherwise, it is only a 9 to 5 schedule.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Sibaram, you wanted to add your points?
Yeah, I can say lead by example and be authenticity yourself. So that will inspire to other people, right? You are not talking and walking, you are talking and walking and doing action. So people will suffer
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, I was just about to say that sometimes I think at least the current generation, the walk the talk does not work. At least that's in my experience of working with them for so many years. It needs a combination of logic for them, explanation for them, and the why for them has to be clearer compared to what it was in our generation. For us, sometimes the instruction or the directive approach was good enough, but for them it doesn't work like that. They need to know the why. Supriya, you've mentioned authority does have a role in influence. Yes, if I'm using authority, it's easier to influence. Yes, I agree. I agree. But why do we use influence without authority is something that we're kind of understanding from each one of us. Sarah, you're saying attempting to influence from a position seems more of an order. Yes. And again, when we are trying to do it using authority, power, title, or position, the way we bring across also the tonality, the mannerism, and sometimes the body language, right? It just shows that authority to the other person. And that could also trigger, and people would not really respond to that. So, authenticity and leading by example, perfect. Great. I think we've got the crux of it. Now, you must be wondering, how do we create that, right? We've heard all the big words that we need to use this and that, but how do we step by step actually do it when we have a lot of stakeholders with us, right? So I'm going to show you the first example, in fact, the first part of how we do it. If you're making notes, you can just make a note. I will be sharing the workbook, but I would still, if you want to make notes, these are the steps that we're going to follow. Whenever you are with a group of people or you have a project to execute, these step-by-step frameworks would help, and we are going to do it with the case study. So I think it's going to be, double the effectiveness. So we'll just do that as well. So Bindushri, you've mentioned it might seem imposing and does not feel inclusive. Absolutely, Bindushri, you're right. I'm sorry, and I think I missed to give you a chance. Next time you're the first one, I'm going to give you a chance. Okay, so we skip this part and we'll come back. So we don't need to explain. I think most of you know the definition. I wanted to share this with all of you. So with great responsibility comes no power. Sometimes you really do not have a power, but you do have a lot of responsibility. And I think most of us would be at that stage. Now, this is basically a stakeholder timeline, right? And I'm going to go deeper, so don't worry. Just look at it as an image for now. So there are 5 levels that happens, right? There would be an unaware stage, like when I jumped into the session, Jyotika was introducing. You still must be wondering who this person is, and now maybe 30 minutes into the session, you must be still having 50% knowledge about me, but you kind of trust me because there's a human connection that has been built, right? So there's unaware stage. Then the second one is a tough one, which is a resistance stage. So sometimes people do move from unaware to slightly aware, which you are in right now. And then there is a resistance stage because you now know me, and certain statements or certain value system will not resonate for me, sometimes from your side. And then there is a neutral stage, then the supportive stage, and leading stage. So any given point of time, when you have 5 to 6 people to work with, or maybe you have like 50 people to work with, map them in this timeline on a sheet of paper. You don't have to share it with anyone, but do map them. That way you know where you need to start working. So tell me, which is the level where you would need to really start working once you've mapped this? Rosmi, any thoughts? Once you've mapped all of your stakeholders, anyone, it doesn't matter what age group you're dealing with, 60 people, you map all of the chapters together. But who do you start with?
To start with, if I have to start with, then I'll be working on the resistant stakeholder.
Resistant stakeholder. Any reason why that and not look at people who are supportive? Because that's a positive way to start, right?
Right. The supportive stakeholders already know the project or what are the objectives. Even neutral is also, neither positive nor negative. It will not have an impact. A resistant one will have, since it's stakeholder, the resistant person has an authority to take a decision favorable or against. And many approvals might be dependent on that. So my first aim will be to have a conversation one-on-one, if we can connect, and we'll see what is the best method. Is it via email or a direct call or a conversation to know what is the reason for the resistance. Like they will have their own point. Yep.
They will have their own point. Perfect. Devsha, you've also raised your hand and posed that, Barinder.
Yeah. Rather, I would want to start my interactions with leading and supportive stakeholders. While leading is already aware, so it's gonna be a partner for me. Supportive because we want to kind of get buy-ins from people who will support the cause that we are working towards. And then, of course, once level 4 and level 5 are involved, they will automatically ensure that level 3 and level 2 are getting towards level 4, and level 1 automatically will get aware through communications.
Fair enough. Barinder, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, it's similar to Devsha's. I would start with leading and supportive, make them part of the team, and maybe then work with the unaware stakeholders and categorize them, and the neutral stakeholders, and then come to the resistant ones at the last.
At the last. Okay. Fair enough. Let's see who
Because
else. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I would then have at least, I believe, quite as comes support to influence the resistant ones and understand their issues and then resolve them accordingly.
Makes sense. Okay, Sharanya and Prashant. Sharanya, you can start first while I read the chats as well. Yeah.
Okay, I would suggest you start with level 1 because there are 4 levels of people who don't know what the project, who know what the project is. So if we deal with level 1, then probably you can distribute them to 4 other levels.
The rest. Okay.
So now you have only 4 levels, and out of that, 2 are already on your side. So we can use this as a leverage to get the attention and the support of the last 2 levels.
Yes. Prashant, anything else? Anything different from what you've heard so far? Otherwise, we could jump into.
Yeah, I will start with level 3 because once you give information to the neutral stakeholders, they may take a stand. So that may be easy for us to gain the majority. And after that, level 1 should be done. And of the last, I will be dealing with the level 2.
Okay, fair enough. Now, here is what we will also look at one more step here, right? But something that I want each one of us to also understand is that the supportive and the leading are anyways with you because they've kind of maybe understood vaguely the projects that you're going to talk about. So they are already there in your tribe or in your support. Now, the only thing we have to remember while we do this breakdown or while we start interacting with unaware and neutral is the longer a person stays in the resistance stage, it is going to be tougher for us to convince them or move them either to neutral or supportive. Supportive is a long way, but neutral. So idea of this entire program is also to ensure that without authority, how can I ensure that the resistance at least move to neutral? Because like I said, the longer the duration that they are in the resistance stage, it is going to be tougher for us to convince and influence them or get the buy-in, which is great that we have supportive and leading. So idea is to maybe look at unaware and neutral and something Sharanya said, right? Pick out people who could be in the supportive. So you do have a good tribe of people or good cohort who has a bind and they are with you, but focus on the resistant and how do we focus, right? So the first step we saw is the timeline. We bifurcate every stakeholders that we have into this timeline, right? Now, before I move to the second step, based on the case study, do you see a resistant stakeholder? And what I'm also going to do is share the case study here as well, so that if at all you haven't read it, you could read it here. Based on the case study, you can put it on the chat. Who do you think is who is a resistant stakeholder? Is it Priya? Is it Omar? Or do you think it's Dr. Elena or Ben?
I think Ben.
And logic, why do you think Ben?
Because he's very skeptical, even he's fear of failure. So he may not be very supportive and he will try to reject the projects unless otherwise he's get into the flawless information, right? Which is not impossible. Perfect is what you say is starting is better than perfect, right? So
yeah.
that
Suman,
way,
what do you think? Yeah, fair enough. I like your thoughts and the logic of why you think Ben could be a resistant. Suman, any thoughts?
Yeah, I also think Ben, because whatever the details written about him says that he need 100% data, and also you keep on asking a question which builds more resistance as keep on answering it, and yeah, it will make difficult to influence him.
Bindushri, thank you so much. Thanks. I like the point that you picked up where the person is probing a lot and sometimes it could become a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Bindushri, what are your thoughts?
Even I feel it is Ben because he knows about the projects, he knows about the impacts of the projects, but he's still not sure of moving ahead and completing it.
Okay, Sajid?
Yes, I think it is Priya. Priya is very tough, very tough to get convinced.
And why do you
always
feel
want
that?
a lot of evidence with the proof to get convinced. So
very interesting. Okay. I hear that. Barinder, you've also raised your hands.
I also support. I think Priya is more resistant because she doesn't want to go with anything new, only the tried paths she wants to follow.
Okay. Srinidhi, Bharadwaj. And then I'm going to take a vote of how many people support Ben and how many think. Yeah, Bharadwaj.
I feel that a new person, Ellen, is more resistive. Why? Because she always looks at the return of investment, which is going to come after the completion of project. So, which we cannot predict at this point of time. So,
but I'm just wondering, I'm intrigued rather the way you're answering that is, so when we start a project, do we not look at the ROI? So somebody who looks at an ROI, would you think that person could be a resistant stakeholder? And that's an interesting point I want to really take forward as well. Think and let me know, Bharadwaj. I'm waiting for that answer. So if we start a project, will we not look at an ROI? And if we will look at an ROI, how would you see that perspective?
No, we should look at the ROI, but the person who is looking at the ROI should, but it is also mentioned that she is not cold, but she is utterly impersonal in her decision making. So that
I like that.
That becomes the resistiveness which we are looking at the complete
the resistant
scenario.
Stakeholders. Fair enough.
She may be the resistant stakeholder in this scenario
Good one.
because of that impersonal decision making.
Good one. Karthik, Srinidhi, whoever wants to take it up. Sorry, I just said.
Yeah, I want to tell what I felt after going through this case study. Okay, I feel they should think out of the box. They should just open the shop in the Tamil Nadu-Karnataka border in Attibele, right? Take all the benefits of Karnataka government, tell Tamil Nadu police and send your people to across the border and take all the benefit.
I actually thought the same when I was writing that case study. So I was the one who wrote that case study and I was like, Okay, but at the end of it, I knew the solution myself. So I was wondering if I should actually send you that case study. But good one. That is the solution I would have given myself. Thank you, Srikati. Karthik.
Yes, for me also it is Dr. Elena because
Dr. Elena.
yes, because return on investment, yes, we look at it, but then that's not the point always as well. So if you have gone with multiple options, only when you go practically, then only you know
Yeah.
whether it works or not. Just to prediction is totally different. But the practical whatever is there is main thing. And also risk will always be there in the business. So if you think that if you take that risk and if at all not you're investing that particular area, you never know what comes actually. That is the other one. But
Good one.
she,
Good
she
one.
she's actually not at all connected with humans. Like feelings and passions are very irrelevant. But then when you have that feeling, that human connect, only then it works wonders. That's what I can say.
So, when we are hearing all the answers and just listen carefully to every answer, no answer is incorrect. Every answer tells us how the person likes to be convinced. So, every answer that you see on the chat and everybody who's verbalizing it, be very careful of the words they are using. In fact, be mindful of the words, I should say, because that's who they are and they want to be influenced like that, right? So for me, when you see my introduction, whatever Jyotika read, and while I was talking, while Karthik is talking, you must be seeing or hearing two words coming in, right? Emotions, authenticity. Emotions, authenticity. What does it tell about me as a person? Anyone? Sajid? Abhilasha?
Uh, what does
How would you?
emotion?
Yeah, so I constantly use the word emotion, and we just heard Karthik say that again. And authenticity is something that I've used in my introductions, and you saw that while I was talking as well. Now, if you were to persuade me, what do you think of me as a person? If these were some of the words I'm constantly using.
That you majorly rely on emotions, and you are an emotionally intelligent being.
Maybe I'm not emotionally intelligent, but I am emotionally driven person, right?
Yeah,
I do
emotional driven.
need,
Yes.
yeah, it could be that I
Yes.
may not be emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
I may
Yes.
not be good at
Totally
managing
agree.
emotions, but I
Yeah.
could be an emotionally driven person. So now what each one of us now need to understand is while we identify resistant stakeholders, the only thing we do not want to get into is to label or judge them or have any preconceived notion. It will help us step back and then look at a strategy in a very, very neutral way. Why am I saying that? Because I've seen in experiences, even today for me, sometimes sitting in a panel, when one person throws in numbers, sometimes I'm so prompted and, so inside, I want to tell them that it's always not about the ROI. It's not sometimes about the numbers. This is also what matters for a project. But I know where that person is coming from, right? Because they're logic driven, they are detailed oriented, and they like to think like that, right? So when my turn comes, I will, of course, talk about emotions. So when we map them, once you've mapped them, there will be a lot of resistant and neutral stakeholders where you will form some judgments, but just step back from the judgments for some time. It is natural for all of us to get into that based on our lived experiences, but just step back and then look at the strategy we are going to adopt. Will that work for some time? While we do the case study, it will help you see how it works because different people function differently and we are going to use all those strategies to influence them, right? So we're going to do that. So yes, Rosmi Priya, she's authoritative, challenging new ideas, great. And I really like a very different perspective that the group got in, that Dr. Alina could also be a resistant stakeholders, right? So we are parking that and we are going to explore that as well, right? Now, let me pick up the first strategy that we have. So we did this, and do not get confused with the so many words here. Just hear me out. You have this in your workbook as well, so you don't need to make notes. But this is called the Menlo's matrix. But in simple words, if you search this on internet, it's called the power interest matrix. Simple. Here, the power does not mean the position or the title. What it means is what power do I have? For example, Sujit Venugopal has a very good people convincing power, right? He's very good at influencing people. That could be also high power, right? If Kavya is very good at maybe crucial financial discussions, and this is a financial project or a budgeting forecast, then she could be high power in this stage, right? That's how we look at it. And if you see, the matrix says there is low power and high power, and there is low effort or rather people who are low interest and high interest, right? Now, basis this, what do you think could be the toughest one to convince here? Basis this matrix, what do you think are, which quadrant could be the toughest to handle?
Key player.
Team player, key player?
Key player.
Which is high power and high interest. Do you think it would be tough because they're already in power and they're already showing interest? So they should be easy one for you, right?
Minimal effort.
Any thoughts? Anyone else? Meenakshi, what do you think? Take some time. You don't have to hurry with this. You can take time and go through this information.
Who has a more power but less interest? So keep satisfied.
And why do you think there could be a problem or a bottleneck? Like because they have high power but not showing interest?
Yes. So because they can influence people or put interest, but they're not interested in. So.
Okay, fair enough. Any thoughts, Sarah? What would you do with such people who are high power? They already have the authority. Do you think they are resistant or they are neutral? How would you put them on which timeline?
I wouldn't say that they're resistant, but they do require certain key aspects for you to convince. But they have a lot of experience, so it comes with that experience that they want it.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
I believe it's keep satisfied actually. No, wait.
Keep satisfied?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just going to read some of the chats as well. Barinder, you can go ahead. You have raised your hands as well.
From my experience in managing projects, we use this normally as a stakeholders matrix.
Yeah.
So I go with the high power and low interest are the most toughest to handle from my experience in projects. And I have some very interesting anecdotes in that, which I may share as
sure, would love to hear that.
In fact, but when I was narrating last week to a very senior faculty in defense, they told me this is more of manipulation than influence. So that was a new perspective for me also.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that. I'll definitely talk about that because that is what most people think that it is manipulation, but I'll definitely talk about that. Okay, great. So are we kind of clear with the matrix here that there could be people in high power and they may be showing low interest? Now, what we are going to do in groups with the case study, Daryl, if you could help me with the groups and help me understand. We have 63 people, so maybe we can have 6 groups. That should be good enough because otherwise it's going to be too much. Would you want me to create the group? Have you made me the co-host?
I have already done the grouping.
You've done the groups, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can take a screenshot of the power interest matrix if you want. Otherwise, just keep a simple quadrant where you have high power and low power and low interest and high interest. The exercise, in fact, the activity for us to do in 8 minutes, because I know it takes some time for us to move to the breakout rooms and come back. So what we are going to do is map the people as per the case study in the low or high interest matrix basis the quadrant. And you don't need to talk about the strategy. That's something we're going to explore. That's the last part that we're going to explore. And also, if you could take a minute in your group to discuss where in the timeline do you think they are as per the project? Do you think they're resistant? Because aware most of them would be. But do you think they're supportive? They are neutral? Do you think resistant? And then we'll come back. Everybody clear with the activity? So 1, power interest matrix, we'll put them into different quadrant. The other thing that we do, just 30 seconds more or maybe 1 minute, is in brackets, just mention, do you think they are resistant, neutral, or supportive and leading? Because that will help you find the right strategy for those people, right? Like I said, there is no right or wrong answer because it's your perspective. Sometimes I could feel Abhilasha is a big bottleneck for me because I can never talk to her. But does that mean she's a resistant stakeholder? Not necessarily. It's my perspective. So my strategy to deal with Abhilasha, or maybe my strategy to deal with Sarvana Kumar could be different, right? And that is why there is no right or wrong answer. So I want in a group, just get into a consensus as to who do you think is resistant or who do you think is supportive and leading. Helps everyone with me? Just show me a thumbs up if you got it. If not, also I'm okay. I'll explain again. Perfect. Daryl, 8 minutes is good enough, I think.
All right. So I'll open the rooms now. And
yes, and you'll give me access to the rooms as well, right? Will I be able to move?
Yeah, you should be able to see it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
By the way, ma'am, is there any criteria to measure the power? The power criteria can be
based on the personality sketch that I have mentioned.
That's
in
fine.
That could be that. Yeah, that's your perspective, and in the group you have to get a consensus of that.
All of you should have got a request. And Sandhya, I think you can see breakout room option.
Yes,
so you can join.
I can now. Yeah, I can. Sure. Thank you. Complete, Ashima?
Yes, we were able to complete right in time.
Right.
Hopefully we have got into the right framework for all these folks.
I always feel this should be like a 3x3 matrix. It should have a medium as well. But the problem with medium is that you always, but then you always feel they're neutral, right? Because if you put
Everybody,
there,
because it's always a gray area. So you will start feeling that, people might be this way, that way. You'll start putting them in the safe zone. Yeah.
In fact, one of the batches that I was doing with senior leaders, I did use a 3x3 matrix, and I realized that most of them then map them as neutral stakeholders because you don't know where they are. So that could be a bottleneck. Okay, do we have all of us back? Room number 1 to 6? Everyone back? Perfect. Okay, who wants to start first? I'm not going by the sequence. Just anyone who wants to share, whichever team. So let's go one by one. Let's talk about Priya. Where do you think, Bhardwaj, go ahead, please. Where do you think Priya could be?
We decided that she is high interest and high power.
High interest, high power. Okay,
She's a
fair
key
enough.
player.
Fair enough. Any particular reason why you picked up that, like any statement from the case study that made you feel?
Yes. Actually, she is having she has successfully launched and scaled program across Karnataka for the past 10 years. That means she is having experience. With that experience, when she want from her proven track record and deep institutional knowledge. Because of these two things, she is highly interested, and as a role being the organization guarantee of success, she is having the power. So I'm interested.
No, I differ from the same group. I consider Priya's high power but low interest because she's not ready to high power.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We can have a disagreement. So anyone else in any other groups other than Bhardwaj's groups where they feel Priya is high power but low interest? Is that what you said, Barinder?
Yeah.
High power, low interest.
Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anybody else who feels the same? Can you just raise your hand so we can, how many of you feel that?
Same.
High power, low interest. Okay. Anyone who wants to give a different logic than what Barinder
Our
just
group
gave?
also opined the same. Priya with the high power.
Low interest. Low interest. Okay. If there was a medium as a middle line, would you have chosen medium for her, or would you still have chosen low?
Medium.
Medium. Okay. Okay. So then there is a scope that we don't have to convince her a lot, but she somewhere is a neutral stakeholder. Correct? Everybody agrees there. Barinder, are you okay with the neutral part so far?
Yes.
Safest to play, now. I took the safest option without conflict. No, but I think we need to also understand that she's not an extreme no. So I don't need a lot of influence and a lot of energy being put in there, right? I just need a few strategies, and I think I can convince her. Correct? Okay, let's look at Ben. What do you think? Prashant, I think you've raised your hand, so why don't you take this one up? I'm also going to share the case study instead here. That makes it easier for all of us.
Both low.
Any idea how I can go into the reading mode for this one? Why is it showing in 2 parts? Anyone who can technically help me with this one? Is there a reason why this PDF is in 2 parts?
It's in 2 pages actually.
How do I get this right? Like, how can I ensure that it
zoom out?
You can
Reduce
zoom
the,
in actually little.
yeah, it's 190%. You could reduce the zoom.
100, eh?
Yeah.
Even if you further reduce, it will come down.
But I still see something
If you
on
don't
the
want that, the 3 lines, just click on that somewhere.
Yeah, I wanted the that one to go away, but that's okay. Let's move to the next one. So after Priya, we have Omar, who wants to share where have you categorized Omar?
Low power and high interest.
Low power, high interest. Okay. So resistant stakeholder, Akhil, what do you think? Sumant, Karthik, Nitin? Omar, is he a resistant stakeholder or a supportive or leading?
Supportive.
Supportive
and
that was not a very convincing supportive, huh? By anyone else?
He is supporting stakeholder because he's into any new project, as he's young and passionate. He is already ready to take new challenges and make it successful. And also he has yeah, that's it.
That's it. How many of you think he is a resistant stakeholder? Because Ashima has mentioned resistant. How many of you think he's a resistant stakeholder? You need some time to convince him. We have 2, Ashima and Charanya only, so the rest of them think. I also personally don't think he's a resistant stakeholder. I guess he's somebody who looks at a shared mission and just tell me. So Ashima, I'm willing to listen to what you think and why do you think, what part of the image makes you feel that he could be a resistant stakeholder?
The thing is that he has a fear of failure. So sometimes what happens is you cannot trust some people all the time. You just need to keep on feeding so that they can keep on supporting you on all the levels. So that's somewhere I felt resistant, and there's a lot of work to be done with him. So every level you have to keep inform him, keep on putting a lot of motivations, there and that, so that the key fear of failure does not
Fear
let
of
him.
failure, is that Omar or Ben? Are we getting confused?
Ben.
That's why I was like, how is Omar having fear of failure? So
No, sorry, Omar.
definitely.
Sorry, I messed up.
That's okay. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out where the sentence or the word failure is. Okay, fair enough. So Omar is not the person. That's okay. So Dr. Alina, for all of you, high power or low
high
power?
interest.
High power, high interest,
High
but
power.
resistant, stakeholder, leading, supportive?
High power, low interest.
Okay. And what according to you, Rupa and Kalyani, are they resistant stakeholders, supportive, leading?
Resistant.
They are supportive.
They are supportive. Kalyani says resistant when with nodding her head, so I'm confused.
Resistant.
Resistant. And why do you think Dr. Elena is resistant?
Because she is number oriented. Always.
Is number oriented being resistant? I don't know. Is it?
No.
I don't think.
And I'll take that answer. I'll just come back to you. So Ben, what do you think about Ben?
Low power, high interest.
Low power, high interest. And why low power? Okay, his influence is currently low. Is that the statement that made you feel that he could be low power? Okay.
Yes,
and is he a resistant stakeholder for all of you? Karthik, Sajid, Sibaram. I'm just taking names of people I see scrolling here actually.
Yes.
Resistant?
Yes.
Okay.
He's resistant.
Once again, disclaimer. Please keep the judgment, conclusions, and preconceived notions and some of the notions that we have from our lived experiences away when you do the mapping, because it will always put you into a bias which is subconscious, right? I could have a bias saying that because this person is number driven, I think he could be resistant. Because he asks a lot of question, he could be not, driven by my project. You can map them as low interest, but do not map them as resistant till the time they have said, I don't like your project and I have these problems. The fact that they are questioning is a good thing, right? You need someone to question your project and check the ROI. Sometimes I'm taking a very simple example, right? Sometimes our parents ask us a lot of probing questions, but that doesn't mean they're resistant. They're asking because they feel maybe we are not well informed, or we've not done enough research, or maybe they genuinely think this is not the right time, right? So instead, when they ask a question, we should be prepared with all the more information, right? Now, because this thought process comes to us, this is the first strategy, and just hear me out, okay? This is the first strategy, and I'm sure most of you would have heard this in your corporate life. This is something you would have heard, which is called ethos, pathos, and logos. And I think you must have heard this. How many of you have heard this word, ethos, pathos, logo, Aristotle's rhetoric? So Aristotle came up with this, and you will have a clearer picture in the workbook. Don't worry, I'll just explain the concept, right? I brought it because I love the colors, so simple. But what it means, ethos, pathos, logos, as per Aristotle, he used it because it is used in persuasive speaking. He believed that any speaker who can bring a combination of ethos, pathos, and logos, he or she it would be easy for them to persuade people or their audiences. Now, what is ethos? Ethos means credibility. Pathos means not really pity. Pity is the original word, but actually what Aristotle meant was emotions, and logos means logic, right? So how does the audience feel, right? How does the audience think, because there is logical number, and why will they trust you is the ethos, right? Now, let me stop this and ask you one question. Tell me if you remember any advertisement, recent, past, whatever you remember, where they've used credibility, which means they've used the number of years they've been in the business, or they've brought somebody from the business and showed credibility, some brand ambassadors, any advertisement product that you remember. Sharanya?
I think, oh yeah.
You've raised your hands, and I'll take that, Sarah. Sharanya, you've raised your hands. Was that for the previous one?
Yeah. No. I forgot to unmute. So there was this Range Rover ad. I don't know how many of you saw. So the idea is that they drove it over this. I don't know the place. I'm so sorry, but I think it's like a cultural landmark in China. So it drove. They drove the Range Rover through the steps. That's like 2,000 steps or something, and it reaches the top of the landmark. So other brand companies have also tried it, but they couldn't reach that level with different cars. So basically, they showed that my car is capable of this. So it's a credible brand that you should invest in. So that was a really powerful ad I've seen recently.
Very interesting. Have you seen Johnson's ad? Thank you, Sharanya. Johnson's, they also brought a number of years. MDH Masala, 150 years. We don't even know how many years, but yes, 150. Bharadwaj, anything that you wanted to add in? Any other company?
Ghadi detergent powder. They were also mentioning the number
That
of
is the
years.
oldest one that you remembered. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Yeah.
Amul Doodh.
Hello?
I don't know.
Whenever
Amul,
we
are they?
see women,
Fevicol.
Fevicol is all emotions.
No,
I think
but then
Colgate.
there's this ad that the furniture goes from one house to another house for generations and generations and generations.
That one. Yes. That
Some
funny ad. Yes, I
some
get that.
for
Yeah.
money.
Biryani also.
Parle-G did not change the cover, Rosemary. So yes, that brings credibility. Getting doctors, brand influencers, celebrities, sports people, influencers, right? Credibility. So there are certain people who need numbers. Is that something wrong? Sorry, they need numbers in terms of your years of experience. Show me your years, show me your gray hair, and I'm okay to, willing to buy your product or your services or your idea. Are they wrong? Not really. That's how they're conditioned, right? So we don't judge them, but we kind of tweak our communication in a way to influence them, bringing some credibility. bring the trust. So something that Jyotika did at the beginning is, why would you listen to a Sandhya Pillai for 2 hours? She already set the context by saying, okay, this is my introduction, right? So that built a credibility. But what I built later in the next 30 seconds to 1 minute with all of you was the connection, which was the pathos, right? Which is bringing the emotion out of all of you saying, hey, let's not have the title, remove it and tell me who you are and why you exist and all of that, right? So Santur Mummy, we see young beautiful women everywhere, not just the ad. Karthik, yeah, I get it. So you only saw Santur Mummy. Do you also believe the Cadbury ad is where they use emotions? Surf Excel, Kalyan Jewelers, social message. In fact, today I think they use Shima, sorry
Sorry to interrupt. Cadbury's has the same tune
Theme.
all over. Yes.
Yeah, and they're bringing that credibility there. In fact, Toastmasters, Lata, yes, when I heard a decade Jyotika saying, I was like, it brings logic and credibility and everything all together, right? And her smile and that story just build everything together. Bajaj scooters, in fact, Hero, Bajaj, they've all brought that Indian concept, right? That Bharatiya and all of that in the advertisements, they bring in an emotion. So today, if you see advertisements, products, the Instagram influencers, the storytelling, everything is a combination of credibility, emotion plus logic. Now, do not judge people when they get into either of the three buckets, because most of us are like that. Sometimes when it comes to listening to our kid or the youngest sibling of the house, we just get driven by their tears or their emotion, right? But when it comes to taking logical decisions with our friends or peers, we go credible. Oh, how do you know? Tell me, give me some data and then I'm going to buy, right? But when it comes to the stakeholders, we look at logic and data and numbers, and that's fair enough, right? So the best method to influence people is to use a combination of this. Use some credibility based on how they are, their personality. Use pathos, emotions, if you think they would need emotion, and some backstory to get there, or sometimes use logic, which is numbers, right? Pulela Gopichand refused to take coke at his help. Yeah, and a lot of people do that because they feel it doesn't resonate with their value system. The emotions don't go well. 5 stars does nothing. Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi. Joel, that was a good one. In fact, life insurance, most of the insurance ad, what do they use? Credibility, emotions, or logic? What do you think, Meenakshi? Emotions, fear, right? They recently started using anger as an emotion as well. Timex, emotions. Most of the Kalyan jewelers and I think the jewelry ads today have become emotion driven. Now, look at the case study and tell me who is an emotion person. And you can pick up a combination. You can tell me that Priya is logical plus credibility driven, however you want it. What do you think, Prashant? Priya, is she logical or do you think she is...
It's obviously Umar.
It's mentioned as Omar is logic for you, Sajid?
No, emotional.
Emotional, okay. Ram Prasad, what do you think? Lata, what do you think? Emotional? Omar?
Yeah, Omar
is emotional. Everybody logical plus credible is Priya. Okay, Barinder?
For me, Dr. Elena is logical.
Logical, okay, but not resistant, right? Has she moved out of the resistant box for most of us now? Because she...
Yeah.
Okay, Kalyani,
what is credibility?
It? Credibility, okay. Yeah, so Barinder has also said logical plus credibility could work for Priya. Anybody else? So what about Omar? Omar is emotion. Only emotion, or is there anything else that you think Omar could be? Rosby, thoughts?
I would say Priya also, ethos also can apply because he has a track record which gives her credibility.
For Priya, are you saying Priya
for
or Ben?
Priya, yeah, for Priya.
Okay. Priya. She speaks with authority, she uses data, so yes, logic. Skeptical of untested profession. So she basically knew its proven track record, which means credibility. Okay. Omar, other than emotion, anything else anybody notices? Madhavi, Abhilasha, Shilpa?
He's very passionate.
So emotions. Anything else?
In Omar, there is credibility because it says his ideas are often groundbreaking and focusing on maximum
future impact. Okay. That's a good observation, Shilpa. Anybody else feels the same, Lata? We
I
have two Latas, right?
One is Lata Nahar and one is Lata Manoj.
So this time Lata Manoj.
No, I feel it's very emotional. I did not find anything else around us.
Nothing else, right? So passion-driven emotion is what we'll play with. Ben, I think Dr. Alina, quantitative data, very logical, right?
Yeah, not
Is
emotional.
logic, yes.
Not emotional. Credibility also, I don't see a lot in that. Ben, what do you think now? Chetlur, what do you think?
More emotional.
Ben also?
Yes, because the fear of failure and motivation are two different contrast things what is talking about his character here.
Rupa, what do you think? Confused? Joel?
Yeah,
Nitin?
actually now.
Ben, confused? Devsha, what do you think? Karthik, what do you think about Ben?
For me, I would say logic. Why? Because he is looking for most of the time contingency plans, which comes under the, logical thinking of data and regulations, how it can be impact the projects,
He
etc.
needs a manuals, he needs a legal review. I think it's very logical approach of looking at detail. So a lot of detail oriented people could be logical as well, right? Aditya, you've raised your hands. Go ahead.
So there is one statement that says his decision making slows down if the levels of details increase, which means that when he sees too many numbers, etc., he starts, taking maybe irrational decisions. So maybe he is a bit emotional there.
A bit emotional when a lot of data is thrown at him, maybe, right? That could be one thing we could consider when throwing in data, but he seems to be a person who's driven by data. Like he needs at least not data, but details then. That's the right word to use. Right? Yeah. Everyone with me so far? So what are the steps we did? Anybody who can just explain the steps from the time you've identified stakeholders? What is it that we do? The first step, let's see how much recall we have.
The first step, whether he is supporting or not, and to the project, that concludes
So the timeline, right? Unaware, resistant, and supportive. Okay. Second, not Sarvana Kumar. Hold. Sara, Devsha, what is the second step? So we've done unaware, resistant stakeholders. Then
the high power, low power.
Then our interest.
PI
Interest
matrix.
and
Okay. Third. So now that you've identified, what is the first strategy we can adopt? The simplest rather, actually. Aditya, what do you think? Barinder, Sharanya, Ashima, what's the first strategy we can adopt now that we've identified them?
Maybe first strategy will be to classify them into supportive or non-supportive or neutral, then go to the...
that already Sarvana Kumar said. So now what we looked at is ethos, pathos, and logos. Now we understood that, now we understood that Priya could be a logical, credible person. So instead of considering any of them as resistant, I now know that I need to bring in data in an emotional manner, which is her need, or a logical manner which throws in some data, right? When I'm talking to Ben, I know I need to bring in some data, some references, otherwise he's not going to get convinced. Same for Dr. Alina, different if there is a fear of failure, we talk about what are the trusted ways we can win over, right? If there is a fear, this fear that I need a lot of, trusted documents and records, like Priya says, then you bring those documents, bring logical approach for them. So the first strategy is the simplest is to use a combination of credibility, emotions, and logic, right? For all the four. Now, we are going to look at the last part because, we have really less time. We're not getting into too much, but this itself, I am sure this is 6 principles, but we're going to explore each one of it. And it's very, very simple. We've heard it often, but how many of you have read this book? Anyone who's read this book, 6 Principles of Influence by Robert Cialdini? Anyone? You can raise your hands if you have. I'm just reading the chat. Timeline, high power ethos. Perfect. Lokesh, perfect. Nobody yet. Okay. So there are 6 principles that Cialdini believes that other than ethos, pathos, and logos, if you don't want to use that, you have this method also, and you can pick up as per the stakeholders. You can use different principles and start implementing it. right? And we're going to just explore it quickly because this is very simple, but we'll do it in the groups later on. Now, the first one it says is reciprocity, which is very simple. When we, see all of these Zeptos and the quick commerce, right? Around Diwali time, they give us a Zepto gift box or a Diwali box. This is all a free book or a free gift, which is reciprocity, which sometimes we don't realize subconsciously. It compels us to come back to that app because we know we are going to get a Diwali gift or a hamper or a free shampoo pouch. And if you remember Sunsilk, when they launched it initially, they had free pouches, right? The Sunsilk shampoo pouches, which was a way of also bringing reciprocal buying behavior, right? Now, in the case study, do you think we can use it? Do you think we can use reciprocity to convince either of the stakeholders, either of the four stakeholders? Do you think that will work? I know, tough question, but I want you to think.
I think it will work.
Yeah.
The reciprocity. Now, what happens
Reciprocity?
yeah. So it's like, what does it mean? It means that people feel compelled to return favors or give people give something first. So if I go there and give them good, whatever I'm giving them, and it benefits the other party involved, naturally they are also going to give me something what is going to be beneficial to me, so that the relationship keeps moving forward and they both are benefited with each other in the long term. So this is one of the features which is going to be there.
Perfect. Now, a lot of people think reciprocity is manipulation, and this is how we correct it. We do not help people at any given point of time because I'm expecting them to give me a free gift, right? That's not what reciprocity. It basically, what Shyaldini meant by this principle is that in a pool of resources, in fact, you may have like 35 people around you. You may have either worked with someone or helped them at some point of time. So you could expect them to be easily bought into your product, right? So for example, I've worked with Bhavna in the past, and she's helped me 50% with some project in the previous organization. When I pitch in a product, chances are that 10% she's going to say yes because she's already worked or I have worked with her and I'm convinced with her idea, right? That's reciprocity. It is not manipulation. It only becomes manipulation when I think, okay, let me help Bhavna. And I think next month, when I have this voting, she's going to help me, right? Let me help Barinder because I want him to help me next quarter. No, that doesn't work. That is manipulation. So reciprocity, the way companies today use it, of course, it is a marketing clear sales strategy, marketing strategy. But when he wrote the book, what he meant is if I've worked with someone or if there has been someone who's helped me or I in the process of helping people, there are chances that when you are bringing in some new concepts or you're bringing in a completely new product idea or a service that you want to introduce or you want to talk to different people in your chapters, chances because you worked with them and you've been helpful and really taken care, they would reciprocate that. It's not they should, they would. Right? Barinder, you had a point. Please go ahead. And then Bhavna, I'll take yours.
So in this, as you asked, I think Ben can use reciprocity with Priya.
Okay.
That
and why do you feel so?
He helps her to effectively implement the project in Karnataka, and in return he can ask that maybe you should consider a pilot with the same resources in Tamil Nadu also.
Makes sense.
What do you think about that?
Makes sense. Makes
Will
sense.
that
So
be a reciprocity?
Yes. But I should, like, the word should and must should not be there in my head that they should do it. We can always ask for favor that, you worked with me earlier. What do you think? Right? And do you think this will work? That could be a conversation, but I can't expect the person to do it because I did something. Right? That's not fair. Like, that's manipulation. Bhavna?
Yeah. So when we kind of try to make the project work out by reciprocity in Tamil Nadu, then there's a high chance that Priya can agree because she relies on the credibility. So when she sees that it is boosting up, then she will definitely agree and we can convince her.
Makes sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's look at the second one, which says commitment and consistency. And this is something which is got to do everywhere. Any field you go, one is commitment, right? So you would see a lot of these products today, like these webinars that we see 99 rupees. And when you enter the program, they're actually pitching your 5,000 rupees program. That is basically showing you a low hanging fruit or the smallest, I think the lowest lead magnet, and then pitching a high ticket item. That's the way they get commitment from a smaller commitment to a larger commitment. But consistency means, for example, I have worked with Latar, I've worked with Ashima, and I've consistently see them work with people, take care day in, day night. They are somebody who are fair to everything that they do and fair to people. Then for me, when they come and pitch, I have seen their commitment and consistency, and there are chances that I would agree to that. That's one thing. The other one, like it mentioned in the example, is that because we have worked together, or there is a smaller commitment that I got from that person, chances are that they would actually look for the larger donation or a larger part of the commitment as well, right? So if you look at how Shalini has looked at these principles, it's a very psychological way of looking at it. There is no hard and fast rule that this is going to work. It is a psychological hack. If we see that, there are chances that people do commit to a larger commitment, larger number as well, right? Anyone, any thoughts on this one? Anywhere that you've seen this or you've experienced this? Aditya, Sujit, where you've seen that commitment and consistency is getting you a buy-in because you've been consistent in the way you've been talking?
I would say that commitment and consistency are the two basic things that help you grow. And the way that people trust you is also that.
Absolutely, Sujit. So sometimes, I've heard this, and I'm not sure if you heard it. So a lot of people go to gym, right? Or sometimes yoga instructors. Today, we also not only social proofing, but if we see them, that consistency and habit building on Instagram or wherever we're watching them, if we consistently see them doing those marathons or doing those, different habits that they're building, we kind of get influenced subconsciously and feel that, oh, this could be a great mentor for me because there's this person who's committed and consistent, and maybe I can hire them as my mentor. So even with organizations that we work, we look up to someone who's worked for so many years and consistently they're showing that value. We immediately somehow we feel that we can connect to that person because there is a consistency.
I have one more thing to say. You can connect Elena with this because she's the one who believes in ROI, if I'm right. So she should be placed under this.
Yeah. And with commitment and consistency, something else that I've noticed is, pilot projects. So you could do some basic smaller pilot projects and show to them, and then you can pitch in a larger project where budgeting is.
So right? Ben will also come under this.
Ben will also come under this?
Yes, because if you pitch in a small program for co-piloting program for him, he is the one who will come under this.
Okay, perfect. Let's look at the third one. This is a very simple one, right? Because I'm wearing black and, black is my favorite color. And I talk about that. If you walk into any of these conferences and seminars, sometimes I use that trick, not consciously, but sometimes the temperature, right, inside the conferences are really cold. So I walk in and say, am I the only one feeling cold? Are you feeling cold as well? I don't even know the person, right? But that immediately opens this conversation and they're like, yeah, even I was about to say. Similar liking immediately brings connection. So it may not immediately get them to buy in some product of mine, but there is this opening that has happened because I've immediately created that rapport with the person. So similar liking, compliments, attractiveness, we've seen that. The similar liking for cricket, soccer, politics, religion, and sometimes, in fact, books, right? If you've read the same kind of books, we have similar liking for people. So Shalini believed that if you have similar liking, chances are that people would get bind easily and influenced by each other. Any examples that you've seen in your life where you've seen this? Thank you, Karthik. Thank you so much. Gadgets, Vidula, I'm sorry, you have to explain that. Gadgets as a liking. Oh yes, absolutely, Bharat. How can I miss that? Technical people. I can understand. I can totally relate to it. I have no idea about gadgets, so I didn't relate to you. But I love the color that you're wearing. So yes, that is a similar liking. Babilasha, any thoughts on you've seen this liking? I think we see that with friends often.
Yeah, so I'm an interior designer. So whenever I have a new client, it comes naturally to me. I connect over children.
Oh, wow. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And
wow.
yeah, that it's not something that I do to make it work, but somehow it comes and then we connect.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? It's up to you how you want to build that connect. It's not manipulation. Formula One, Rishikesh. Oh yes, I'm that person. So you can talk to me anytime. Author is good, Bindushri. Yes, Abhilasha. That's option. Toastmasters, music. Yes. For me, travel. I'm a solo traveler. I love traveling. So connect with me anytime for liking. So you saw that, right? So reciprocity. Sometimes what we do in kindness with others, also we may get reciprocal feelings from there. It's always not in money or exchanges in terms of gadgets or gifts. It's always sometimes it could be in kind. The second one is commitment and consistency. It works both ways, small to large, and it also works in the way we show commitment and consistency. And liking, if we have people around us who are of similar liking, we can easily persuade each other. So in the case study, do we have someone who's kind of similar? Two people who are similar?
Omar
and who else? Like who are similar? Who Omar is similar to whom?
Ben.
Or do you think there's Ben? Why do you feel that? What made you feel that they could be connected?
No, Omar and Priya. Omar
and Priya. Barinder, what makes you feel that?
See, both are enthusiastic about getting the projects on ground. Whether it's a different territory, they know that we can get it done.
Yeah. Okay, Priya and Dr. Elena. That's a superb combination. But why? Priya and Dr. Elena
also.
Why, Deepsha? Why do you feel that?
Both of them are solely dependent on data. So
that could be one reason. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So we'll just look at the last three. Jyotika, we have time till 9:15, right? Or do you want me to kind of close fast? 9:15, right?
Till 9:30, we close the
9:30 we have, right?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. So social proofing is the simplest one. I don't need to explain because we see that all around today. People look to others to guide their behavior, especially in uncertain situations. If some people are doing something, it seems correct. So most of us are now today looking at Instagram for all our weight loss programs, organic food, protein substitutes, everything we are looking at social proofing. But in the context that we are looking at, sometimes, just the visual way we look at a brand could also be social proofing. For example, if I see Priya as someone who has done credible projects and I see her, maybe on LinkedIn and I feel, oh my God, she's got this award, she's got this, she's done this, that could be a social proofing for me. Something as an example that I've used is a restaurant with long line outside. We will feel that because there's so much of rush, we feel that it's, it could be one of the most credible and the most trusted brand, but it may not be true. But that's how it is social proofing, right? Anybody who has seen social proofing work for you in your favor when you're trying to influence someone?
Yeah, some of the advertisements say that only we have 2 seats left, you have to book. So still everything is
that's scarcity. That's a model that I'm going to discuss as well. That's a scarcity model that if you don't buy by 25th December, we are stopping this offer, right? And every time we still, sometimes it's FOMO. Yes, and I think we as a consumers, we still go with that, right? For years, we know that Christmas 50% off is going to be extended till Jan 15, but we'll still feel that, oh my God, there's a 50% sale and we'll rush to go and buy. Even if we don't rush, we still go and buy. Right, and that's a scarcity model, which makes us feel that the
social
product
proof. I think all the reviews on Amazon and Flipkart that you
Yes, Nitin, that's the right example. Yes, the reviews on Amazon reviews about restaurants, the Glassdoor reviews about companies. All of this is social proofing. And today, of course, there are many other ways of social proofing, which we see in Instagram, YouTube Shorts. The more you see the person, you believe, oh my God, the protein shake that this person is talking about is something worth buying. Let me go ahead and buy, right? But in the context of what we're looking at, do you see that social proofing could work with either of them? Either Ben, Priya, Dr. Lina, or Omar?
Omar.
Why? Why do you think so, Sarah?
Because he goes to Hyderabad and Chennai to see whether how it has worked and he wants to implement the same thing there.
Ah, very interesting observation. Anybody else? Anything observed? Anything else that you observed about any of the characters, and you feel social proofing could work for them?
I feel Ben can go by social proofing because he keeps asking for details, but when he sees, okay, this is really appealing, then he could really give
For him,
go
appealing
way.
and liking. So I think
Yeah.
liking plus social proofing could work for him, right? That's what
Yeah.
works for him. Perfect. So we saw 3, right? And we're going to look at this should be the 4th one. So authority, I don't have to say that. If somebody is at authority at a position, and of course bringing in a lot of years of credibility, we actually perceive them to be somebody who would have knowledge, expertise, and we kind of trust them. So that's one thing. So and I've used an example of dentist, but most advertisements, they get these brand ambassadors because it's a person or a figure of authority, and we kind of believe them. Scarcity model, like I said, the last one is where you will feel that this is a limited offer, or some of the companies in the last few decades, you would have seen, if you read the case studies, they jump into introducing a new concept or an idea because they've already got to know that the competitor is coming out with this. So you would see the scarcity model, the background happening for a lot of startups. They would have implemented, so something that you saw in, I don't know how many of you observed that the UPIs today have, for every transaction that you do get 1 coin, or 1 gold coin or something. Every 100 rupees, 1 gold coin, something like that, right? At a point around Diwali, if some of these apps you noticed, they doubled the amount to help people, or persuade people to start using Paytm more, or the Lakshmi app, and there's one more Gulak app, all of this, right? But they very carefully did it, and they waited till Diwali. Just a week before Diwali, they doubled that amount, saying that if you do 100, we'll give you 2 coins, 2 gold coins. There's a worth of gold coin. It's just, I think 1,500 points for you to get like some 0.0.0.1% gold, but people are buying, right? I'm also one of them. But I'm saying that they increased it just to show that scarcity, that until Diwali, if you do UPI, you do UPI transactions through Paytm or Gulak or the Lakshmi app, you would get this many. That's a scarcity model that they introduced. Ashima, you've raised your hands. Go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. If you see in real estate, a lot of builders, developers, they say it's a east-facing or west-facing house.
Oh my
They are
God.
very limited numbers, and they'll give you a proof on the layout and everything. And you ought to, bow your arms down, because in India, Vastu is like super, super
Oh,
conscious
super
thing.
conscious
So it's
people are,
like, yeah,
absolutely. If you've ever
yes.
lived in Bombay, how many people from Bombay here? Mumbai? Anyone sold with this concept of sea-facing Bandra houses? Oh my God, there is never even an iota of sea. There is no S close by, at least 100 kilometers. But the brokers would take you to this, this literally matchbox kind of a place in Bandra, and they'll say, ma'am, sea facing view hai. And that is why the prices are up. And I'm like, where is the sea? There is not even a single, the only thing that you can smell is the sea. That's it. But they do sell you that, right?
Or
This is
balcony
how
hai.
you're going to. Balcony to Bombay mein is like
Mumbai.
luxury, right? you must be a luxurious premium customer to get a balcony in Bombay. But yeah, that's how it is, right? Great. So far, are we good with the principles? What I'm going to do is actually go back and show that image once again, because I know it may have been a little bit faster. Let me show you here. And now you can ask me if there are questions, and we'll now move into our rooms, in fact, breakout rooms, and then now craft a influencing strategy to ensure that this project kickstarts, right? So we did reciprocity, we did liking, scarcity, social proofing, commitment, and authority. Any doubts on either of the concepts, or if you've not seen it ever, or do you want to ask anything?
Yes, Sandhya, when you say that influence, right, I always confused with manipulation and influence. How you differentiate? If the people say that you are manipulating to buy something, how you say that's not a manipulation? It is something.
Good question. Let me throw this question to the audience, because I think by now you would have differentiated. How would you differentiate if it's manipulation or actually influencing someone? Like, how would you know the thin line? My God, I love that silence. Wow. Okay, Sunil, go ahead.
Manipulation.
Sunil has raised hand. Desha, I'll come back to you. Sharanya, I'll also take your question. Yeah, Sunil.
Sure. So manipulation is you do a favor and expect a favor back, right? The moment you have an expectation, it's tending to manipulation.
Yeah. Okay, but when you're convincing someone, for example, in this project, if you're convincing them for a Karnataka project or Tamil Nadu to kick off, is that manipulation because you are expecting them to get convinced for that project, right?
Not really. I think you are expecting something in return, right? Not just to agree to do something, but you expect something in return, right? So that's
okay. Fair enough. Joel, what do you think? Thank you, Sunil.
When you are influencing, you are looking at the benefit of the whole company or the other person's benefits. When you are manipulating, you are looking only your benefits. You are not bothered about what happens to other person or the company.
Absolutely.
You have certain things.
Absolutely. When it's a collective consciousness, so I'm using the word consciousness because the kind of work that we do, it comes from intention and definite consciousness of helping people and a conscience of also helping people, right? So, and genuinely doing that out of that intention. So when we look at the collective good, it mostly comes from a space of influence, right? Because I feel if I do this together, it is going to be in the betterment of this cohort or this particular chapter or this particular area or region, right? And that then becomes influence and it's not manipulation. So once we map them, Ram Prasad, so once we map them in the power interest matrix, you've understood their needs. And then I try to, because I know that this is their need, and I've tried to manipulate them without even they getting any benefit, without even seeing their win-win, and not even convincing them for the collective good. It becomes my agenda. It has to be our agenda, or it's our collective good. Then it is influence. Otherwise, it's mostly manipulation. Does that help? Did I answer your question?
Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah. Sharanya, you had a question. Sorry, you've been raising your hands for a while. I missed it. Sorry.
So I have a quick two-part question. The first question was regarding the case study. So the end goal is we either set it up in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. But Karnataka has a lot more stats as compared to Tamil Nadu. So wouldn't the end outcome decide how we influence these people? For example, if I want to convince everyone that it's Karnataka, then it would define the strategy we take after that, right?
Yeah. So these are the questions that we have, Sharanya, and I'll show you the questions right now. These are the questions I want you to explore in the breakout room. If you needed to convince all 4 stakeholders, Priya, Omar, Dr. Elena, and Ben, in one meeting, which single argument would you prepare for each person to appeal to their primary driver? So we understood some of them are logical, some of them are credible, but you only have one meeting and one single argument to make to convince all the phase 4 stakeholders. So in our breakout rooms, this is what we're going to explore. Sharanya, did I answer your question?
Yes. Yeah. And I had another question, if I may, quickly. So if you have very logic-driven people in your stakeholder meeting and you don't have data points because this is the first time you're doing something, so what would you do? How would you bring up this data?
I would not enter that room. Seriously. So with logic-driven people, there's another thing that you would note, and it's not a judgment. It's my lived and, of course, the professional experiences that I'm talking about is when they are logic-driven in their head. They are already looking for detail when you walk into their room. So they're basically looking at you walking and saying, Saranya, there are 3 things I want you to talk about this project. And in their head, they're waiting for you to give that three tuck points. Now, if you don't have those points with them, they've lost you. They've lost that attention and they'll be like, okay, can you just, draft it in an email and come back to me? Because in their head, they always look for some number, something to make them believe that this, there is a very crisp and concise structured thoughts coming to me, even if it's not numbers. So what you could do instead, Sharanya, if you, for example, you have a content, right? You have kind of the meat of the content, and you also kind of know what is the outcome. You could use the technique called problem solution benefit. If you've not heard of it, it's called the PSB communication technique. It's not influencing, but it is letting the other person know that there is a problem. And I think this could be the solution. Because the solution would work, the benefit of using the solution is this. So this is called the PSB technique. We have used the power of three parts, but it helps people at least listen to you because you're breaking it down into 3 parts. Does that help, Sharanya?
Yeah. Yes. Could you just give the abbreviation of PSB?
I was just typing it here.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Logical people can still be influenced by reason, but not manipulated. They can't be. Nobody can be. Today, at least, you can't manipulate people easily. It's not with respect to intent. Yeah. So, problem solution benefit. It's called the PSB communication framework. And this you can use for any, even for any presentations and pitches or idea pitches as well. When you think you don't have a lot of data, but in your head there is some structure around it, you can use the problem solution benefit framework as well. Helps?
Yeah.
So I put it on the chat. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we open the breakout room? So we will keep, it's around 9:20. We'll keep just 5 minutes because we have understood the concept, right? We saw ethos, pathos, logos, and we also saw 6 principles of CRDD. Just look at the first question. The rest, anyways, is in the workbook as well. So I would invite you to actually explore the work because I put a lot of pointers there as well, just in case whenever you have stakeholders around you, wherever you're working, this simple steps will help you. If it doesn't work, of course, there are advanced influencing strategies, but this basically, the basic foundational influencing strategies does work. So Omar has no formal authority, but high passion. So let's keep all of this because I think pretty much if you answer the first one, the rest 3 gets taken care of. So are we good with this question? The case study in the last part has a first question. If in one meeting you want to use one single argument, basis what you've identified, the different influencing strategies, what's the combination that you would use to convince all the 4? Helps everyone? So I think 8 minutes is good enough, and let's quickly just come back and we'll look at that. I think that could be a good culmination for us to see. If you can open the breakout rooms for me, please. Daryl. Bharadwaj, I saw you only speaking, or I saw in the group. Sumant, you weren't speaking at all. So what happened? What happened to the influencing strategies? How did it go for the rest? How many of you were able to convince your peers in the group?
5 minutes was too less.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, you had the strategy, right? The timing was short. Otherwise, you could have managed.
Weren't able to convince ourselves.
That is the one. Okay, so what did we have as one single argument to convince all 4? Any thoughts? Anyone you can share.
One argument.
Yeah, so Sunil, sorry, you've raised your hands. Please go ahead.
Sure. So first of all, in our group, we were able to convince among ourselves on one single answer, which was Karnataka.
Wow.
And why we were able to, why we would be able to convince all the 4 stakeholders is because it's the logical as well as emotional people can be convinced using the answers. For the logical folks, yes, it is an established track record, and it has a proven record. And for the emotional people, I think we also have the emotional aspect, like this region is badly in need of badly in need of help, and a lot of underprivileged people there. So I think you would be able to convince both the folks. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, Sujit. Thank you, Sunil.
Yes, ma'am. I would start with Omar because if we can, because he has a vision and he has a moral purpose. We could use that once if we start the project. If we can convince Omar, with which we can start a small pilot program for showing Ben, and we could convince him. Once the program is running smoothly, we could generally expand the program. And with this, we could convince Elena by showing the ROI cost, the predictability. And after convincing Elena, we could directly go to Priya. Because she is the one.
Sense.
That is one thought we had in our group after our discussion.
That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way. So, in my experience, and I could be wrong, but you can test and try this method for everyone. I've seen the actual sandwich of using credibility with emotion and ending it with logic works, right? However, in a larger cohort, when I have a lot of people to convince in terms of budgeting sometimes, which is a lot of conversations, or sometimes timelines, which is a lot of conversations, I see if I use a structured approach by saying, hey, I think I want to talk about 3 things. And the topmost being, this is what we are like 15% is what we are going to achieve, or this many number are we going to achieve. So what I've done is I've touched base on the logical people first, moved to a bit of sensitization using emotions, and then when I feel they could question me, I put in the credibility argument. Right? So both has worked, but the sandwich method of keeping emotion at the center as a meat of the content or bringing all of them together has helped. So you can try that. But if you see larger number of people logical in your room, please start with 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, saying that let me talk about 3 things and I want to talk about these numbers first. Quickly go through it, do not get into the detail of it, and then touch base on people who need emotions and then credibility. You can come back to the data points later, but that keeps the logical people patient. But when we start with emotion as a story, we lose out on the attention span of logical people. Anyone who is logical here would agree with me. You lose out on patience with people when they get into that emotional storytelling. You don't want to hear that, right? So always remember, in a group, when you can now sense it. Now that you walk out of this training room and you talk to people, the way they talk, the words they are throwing around, you will be able to categorize them, not judge them, not label them. Just categorize them as credibility driven people, logical driven people, and emotion driven people. Remember, when you are in a group where you have larger set of people who are logical, start with data points, a quick touch base so that they are sharp. Move to the second one, which could be a bit of emotions to cater to people like who are emotionally driven and you want to sensitize them about certain things. Then bring in the credibility to close your point. Does that help? Does that help everyone? Yeah, Bhardwaj, you've raised your hand. Sorry, I just saw that.
I just wanted to explain on the same thing what we have discussed in our group.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, we just want to show the success stories of Karnataka to the team, so that taking that model of Karnataka, which is proven, into the Tamil Nadu, which with the increased scale, so that with a long-term goal, and roll out the complete project in a phased manner, so that it controls the risk and other things also, so that all 4 stakeholders who are there. So already Priya can be convinced because of legacy and evidences which we have taken from Karnataka. Omar can be convinced because of the vision he is having and the impact which we have created in the Karnataka as a reference we are taking. So he can be convinced. And already we are rolling out the project in a phased manner so that we will get return of investment at the earliest only after each phase. So Dr. Enila can be convinced because of this. And Ben, who is having the fear, his fears can be we can reduce his fears because already we are doing the project in a phased manner. Even though the first step is getting successful means he will be convinced and he will be happy with that. So he will be also enthusiastic to take the second phase of the project. So in that way, all four can be convinced if we follow this structure. So that is what we discussed, and we came out with that as a better solution. That's all.
Perfect, perfect. I like the phased manner and the pilot study, pilot maybe group or pilot project that you want to start. Brilliant. Sounds good to me. Perfect. I think with that, I would like to end the session. We're almost 2 minutes ahead, but would love to hear or see on the chat whatever is possible for you, because I know it's 9:30 and we may be at loss of energy, but please let me know how it went for you. One adjective only, not because I'm logical, just because it's short of time, but also help me understand what is it that you would start doing in influencing starting today. Other than the workbook that I've already shared, please go through it. There is that workbook would help you throughout the life. It is the simplest strategies all put together on that with images for you to be able to understand better. But one word of how you felt the session was today, and also one line about what would you start doing after today's session.
It was fantastic, and the logical sensitization and credibility, that path is very interesting.
Thank you, Barinder. Thank you so much. So EPL learning, brilliant. Okay. Thank you.
Sandhya, I always thought emotionally people get connected first, but today I also learned that it is not always the same thing. If you have to decide on the way the people are in the room. So I think, as you said, maybe just see how the people are and starting it with logical people. That was something I learned new. Thank you.
Yeah, I have. So I'm from the banking industry. Vidushi. I started my career with banking, and then of course I moved to different parts. But with banking, that's the tough part that I heard, right? Because it was all analytics, it was all number. And when I walk into a room and I don't have number, I would have often seen my leaders just look at me point blank, like, why didn't you even enter the room? Because you don't have anything to say. And it's only over a period of time I learned that, okay, these people actually need numbers first, and then maybe I can bring whatever pie graph, histogram to show them. But right now they just need, what do you have on table for me? That's it. Right. And that sometimes, because they lose the patience, they also will not listen to what you want to say. So that happens. Each group work and is very insightful. Thank you. Audience stakeholder approach it. Fantastic. Influencing. Now, can anybody relate to my introduction in the way we learned the frameworks? Anybody who could see the pattern, eye-opening, PSP, craft speech with EPL. There are many other strategies, but I thought it will be too much, right? We started with the school rhyme. I didn't want to end with the thesis today, so it would have been like a doctorate, nursery to doctorate session. We didn't want to do that. Logic, emotions, credibility, gauge the group. Yeah, perfect.
Sandhya, like I have a question. If you don't mind, can I make it quick? Yeah, okay. So if there are multiple stakeholders in the room, like should we address the people one by one, or how should that statement be? It should be a generic one, or address name by the person by name?
I use eye contact, Bhavna, but sometimes in the boards today, like I'm mostly the board members, and I'm interacting with that. There are today nowadays 15 to 20 people in a board at one point, right? And if it's not a round table, if it's not a U-shaped conference room, it gets difficult for me to have eye contacts, right? And sometimes the projector slides are on. I'm giving technical reasons of why the body language does not work. So what I do instead is use my body movement to cater to people. And I also, if I don't know the audience at all, with board, it doesn't happen. I know the board members. So I start my eye contact with logical driven people where I know they're looking for, what do you have on, what do you bring on the table, Sandhya? And from there, I start building some liking with the other person that, I really like what you're wearing, and that similar liking, rapport building, emotion touch. And then I bring in to the credibility part that I've experimented this year and I've trusted method. So you have to play around, but play around with all three so that you don't lose out on anyone. Right? But for most people, if you're meeting them offhand and you haven't ever met them, to have 10 minutes before the meeting or before that interaction is good so that you bring some similar liking before you actually start the conversation inside them. And that is why if you hear in the network meetings or the leadership summits or anywhere you interact, we are invited 10 minutes. If you saw, Jyotika also saw me and she was like, why are you 10 minutes early? I think, are you early? I said, I like to come 10 minutes early because it helps us to build similar liking. You see people, you connect through chat as well. Right? And that helps.
Wonderful.
Great. Thank you, Bhavna. So different strategies, left, right, brain people, brilliant, interesting. Yes, perfect. Jyotika, I've come to the end. Daryl, I've come to the end. Is anything you want to share? You have questions for me? Please ask me. Perfect. I love the learnings that each one of you have picked up. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing that encouragement. That shows the heart person right there. Bingo. I can do a high five with you, Karthik, from here. I am that person in most of the groups, so I can resonate with how you feel. Anyone quickly remembers what was my introduction and why that pattern now?
Logics, emotion, and credibility.
Yeah, absolutely. That was it. Perfect. I think we are at the end. Jyotika, anything that you want to add, please do that.
Thank you very much, Sandhya. First of all, let's unmute ourselves and give Sandhya a huge round of applause, as well as whatever you want to say to Sandhya.
Thank you.
I would definitely say thank you very
Thank
much.
you so
Very
much.
good
Sandhya.
session.
Very much.
Just like you on time.
Love your session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
You
Sandhya,
influence us with your session.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Who did that? that was good. Thank you, Sumant. Inspiring. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Well, Sandhya, you can consider that as a lullaby, a nursery rhyme. You started off with nursery rhyme. I think this is definitely going to give you a very good night's sleep. So thank you, Sandhya.
Absolutely.
Brilliant session. When I started off, I asked you all a question, or I even said that we Toastmasters are used to a certain way of influencing. Our concept of influencing is more on a one-to-one basis. And for me, this was an eye-opener because indeed, Sandhya showed us that influencing is not only one-to-one, it is also at a corporate level, at an organizational level. And there's no one size fits all. We always have to evolve as leaders and see the situation and evolve together with that. And thank you, Sandhya, for that brilliant perspective. I said you definitely have shifted my perspective of how to see influencing. And I think this has been an excellent build up to the next session. When I say next session, the next level. We are finishing with this month. In this month, we will be finishing our first foundational level of our framework, our Lead 3.0 framework. And we're moving on to the relational framework, where we understand more the organizational level of leadership. And I think this session particularly gave a very good build up to the next session, which is organizational awareness, coming up in December. So thank you very much, Sandhya, for that shift of perspective. And that's exactly what I was seeing in this session. As a small gratitude, a token of our appreciation and gratitude, I would like to offer a small token of appreciation, a certificate.
That's so humble and nice. Thank you so much. That means a lot, Jyotika and Daryl.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Daryl, for maneuvering the session for me throughout. I didn't have to bother about the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is also on behalf of our district director, district 121 director, distinguished Toastmaster Gokul Menon. He also says thank you to you. He just got married, so he's a little busy. And
congratulations to him from my side.
Yes. Thank you. I'll definitely let him know. Thank you, Sandhya. And let's take a group photograph before we disperse today. So we have the smiley faces, which on your videos. Bindushri, Nitin.
Jyotika, but you'll have another small Toastmasters with me, so I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter. Prospective Toastmaster or a leaper rather.
Oh, that's so cute.
All right, smile everybody. Right, screen 1 done. we have many small leapers here. I can see someone with Warren as well.
I think it all started with the nursery rhyme.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Rosmi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
All
Daryl, are
right,
you done with the
thank you.
photograph? I think
Yes,
yeah,
I'm done.
okay, done.
All right.
Okay,
So
perfect.
this also has actually stood out for me as a session because Sandhya weaved the entire session with just one case study. And if there's something that we are going to remember are those four names, Omar, Elena, Priya, Ben. I think these are the names that we are never going to forget. So thank you, Sandhya. That's just on a light-hearted note, but it was I found it brilliant the way you weave the entire session based on one case study, something for us to learn as trainers, as speakers, as communicators. Thank you very much for that. And with that, I will not adjourn the session, but I will hand it over to Daryl for him to give us the week ahead and the assignments that are going to come out going forward. So over to you, Daryl.
Thank you very much, Jyotika. Good evening, everybody. I hope it's not good night yet. It's that time of the session where I show you what is expected from you for this week. Let me quickly share my screen. All right, so we have just finished today's session, and what is in store is your post-session assignment, which has three different parts. Before that, there was a workbook that was prepared or curated by our trainer Sandhya, and that will be shared with you shortly. The assignment, the first one is the 1 week reflection journal. I'm sure all of you are in the habit of journaling, right, since we started Leap. But this one is particularly with regard to this particular session. Keep a journal and capture different moments in your life in this particular week where either you influenced others or you have been influenced by somebody, right? Without formal authority. It could be somewhere at home, at your workplace, in your club, community, anywhere. Note this down, and there is definitely a format that has been shared in the handbook, in the workbook, which is the situation, what was your role, the strategy you used, the outcome, and the learning. So use this particular format and journal it for the next 1 week, where either you have influenced somebody or you have been influenced without formal authority. The second one is the why I lead speech. So please draft a 5 minute persuasive speech on the theme why I lead, right? That you can use these three particular points that I will list down. One is you need to persuade the audience, right? To show your value in your leadership philosophy, what you believe as the leader. Showcase that to the audience and persuade them. Through your speech, you have to showcase your values, your experiences, and moments when you have influenced others without formal authority. Focus on the why, right? What drives you, what you stand for, and how you inspire others. So, with these elements, draft a speech. You can record it and show it to your mentor, but this will be your requirement for the next session, right? Which will happen next Wednesday. This is your requirement. Of course, more details will be shared with you, but this is something that you should keep in mind. And lastly, submit 150 to 200 word reflection on a real life influence attempt, right? You can describe your intent, the approach, the result, and what you learned uh, about that. So these are the three elements of the assignment that you need to submit to your mentors by Sunday. Of course, it takes a 1 week reflection journal, but go ahead and submit it to your mentors on Sunday, by Sunday. And like we always do, post your reflections on the session that we conduct on your LinkedIn and share your thoughts. Appreciate our trainers and mentors on the Leap 3.0 LinkedIn page. I will share the feedback form in a Zoom chat as well as our WhatsApp community. So please take some time and fill it in by Saturday, the 22nd of November. All right, congratulations to all those of you who finished level 2. Applause is in order. But those of you who have not received your badges yet, please do work on regularizing your October score as soon as possible. I think we still have 8, 9 leaperds who are in this particular category. So let's take it to 0 before we meet next Wednesday. All of you have received the guidelines for your individual project, and if you look at the timeline as well, 20th is when you start discussing it with your mentor. So go ahead and discuss your individual project, what you can do, what you want to do, right? Discuss it with your mentor and form a plan. All the timeline and guidelines are clearly listed in the project guidelines that we shared. I'd also like to remind you to focus on the Pathways Mentor program that we want you to complete as part of Leap 3.0. Many of you are on track, but those of you who are not on track, this is a gentle nudge from our end. That's it from me. I will share this in our community as well the week forward. All the best for the rest of the week, and I'll see you on the 26th of November. Over
Thank
to
you
you,
very
Jyotika.
much. Thank you, Daryl. Small heads up again. The individual project is a prerequisite for your capstone project, which is going to happen during the 7th and the 8th month of the Leap 3.0 journey. Therefore, please ensure you participate, you deliver. The 1 month project is just for a 30 days period. I don't think it's very difficult. So please get started with your individual project. And the speech is very important that you deliver it next week, because we will be using this speech as a breakout room activity as well, and probably something more that's in store. We'll just wait for next week. Our next session is on the 26th of November. That will be the peer huddle, followed by the next level that we will be getting into in December. So don't miss the session. With that, I would like to adjourn this session for today. Stay safe and sleep well. Good night.